Right, we're going to move into segment 3, and I believe my old friend Cinder is going to lead us into this one.
Yes, I will. But before that, I'd like to hear you say library again, please.
Library.
Okay, okay.
I also
So,
love the ASMR at first. That was fantastic. Got the tingles and everything.
so this third document we're going to talk about is an opinion from MSN.com, which was written about a couple of weeks ago. The date where the article has been published is not apparent on the article. I couldn't find it. But since we also learned a lot about the situation since then, and the coverage has been extreme on this front because Georgia is a key seat to keep for the Democrats and gain for the Republicans. So I'm going to talk about the larger situation at hand here. So Herschel Walker is aiming for a Georgia senator seat. Uh, this man has been running on an anti-abortion platform. Other than that, he's been also anti-evolution, anti-science, anti pretty much everything. Um, and this anti-abortion platform is absolutely without single exception for rape, incest, or danger to the mother's life. And yet, once again, we discover that he paid for a former girlfriend's abortion in 2009. The hypocrisy here is even bigger because he then tried to get her to have a second abortion a couple of years later. She refuses, and she had the child. And now we know that he has 4 children from 4 different wives, and he didn't raise a single one. So, for the party of uh, family values, this is quite insane, especially since because of this, the importance of this seat, even Mitch McConnell decided to put all his weight and money behind this candidate because you know it's too late to change. So, August, what are your thoughts?
Well, for me, I think it gives very much only for me, not for thee vibes, just about, abortions are wrong if I think your reason for it isn't justified. But I know my reasons for it in his mind. He's saying, I know my reason for it, and my abortion or the abortion I'm going to pay for to silence my girlfriend, it seems like he was doing. Um, we always know that it's going to be his he will think it's okay for him and any of his people he's involved with, but it won't be okay for the normal people who arguably have much better reasons than he probably does. So I just think that it's whenever they found out that they could use something like abortion to rally their the Christian minority, majority, not minority, the Christian majority, they could rally and get to vote for them and give them a common demon and give them a scapegoat. Because as I believe it was George Carlin or said, it's really easy to advocate for the unborn. The quote unborn, I really don't like that term, but it's really easy to advocate for a group that can't talk back or doesn't demand anything from you until 9 months later, where you say, get lost, kid, you're on your own. But anyway, I want to hear what Richard has to say.
I'm not sure why this story is a shock to anybody. And Christian nationalists not practicing what they preach is pretty much standard. We've covered story after story after story after story after story after story here on the non-profits of right-wing Christians especially those in positions of leadership or power, engaging in corruption, drugs, and affairs. When it comes to practicing what you preach, they're hardly top of the list. I think in the spirit of fairness, this isn't exclusive to Christianity. In Islamic countries, pornography is highly consumed. Statistics constantly tell us this, despite being haram, which is forbidden by Islamic law. And according to Pink News, Pakistan is the country that watches the most gay porn. And, you'll also find many Muslims tucking into a bacon sandwich and having a sneaky pint on occasion. Catholic priests aren't the only sexual abusers. A senior research officer at Inform said in an article in the 2018 Guardian article, the majority of our inquiries at the moment concern Buddhist groups. So hypocrisy, I think, is widespread in those religious people who just love to tell others how they should be living. But, specific to this article, I think August touched on some brilliant points there. Christians, I think, don't feel like, they like to tell others, don't they, that you shouldn't have sex before marriage. Abstinence makes the heart grow fonder, as they say. But, we know that the Christians don't practice that. The only Christians practicing that are the young Christians who are told that they shouldn't practice that. And even then, in those states where things like abortion and contraception are forbidden and frowned upon, you'll find the highest rates of teenage pregnancy. That's a shock. But when it comes to the higher ups, to the parents and the grandparents, I'm sure in a lot of cases, and the ones telling the young people not to do this, they're the ones who are going out and having affairs and causing pregnancies. It's really just hypocrisy. What else is there to say to it? Cindy, what do you think?
So you just touched on something that I already wanted to talk about. You said you were a prophet. I think there's some truth in that. So we can talk about the hypocrisy of the right and the Christian right for hours, and we have on the non-prophets. So I want to address one specific angle of this, and it's and we've had this very quite often on Tokiden and AXP, men coming and giving us the argument that women need to take their responsibility. Consent to sex equals consent to pregnancy. You were talking about abstinence, and that's exactly it. And that argument pisses me off big time, because I every time I hear it, it's like I'm bursting. So admittedly, I don't know if Walker used it, this very specific argument, but you have guys fucking around, leaving women to deal with the children alone, and that's been an issue for centuries, tens of centuries, especially when those same men created an environment where single women were ostracized, like in Christian times. Single women were set apart of society. And then you have those guys coming and tell us that we women need to take our responsibility, and if we have sex, we need to have the baby. Well, fuck you. You first. Take your responsibility first.
Get him, Cindy. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm stunned. I really like that, Cindy. Good for you. Let it out, girl. Let it out. I do want to say that this just it's again hilarious in a completely non-hilarious way because of the way they shame people for this, but it just reminds me so much of those Christians who are just so holier than thou and only for me, not for thee. So you have Christians, or as Richard so amazingly put, we have to be generous and say that all, or at least the most popular ones, usually push some kind of purity culture. So this is not exclusive to Christians or Christianity or any of the Abrahamic religions either. I just talk about Christianity the most because that's what I'm most familiar with. So I just want to make that clear. But they try to say, okay, save yourself for marriage, which we know that that's a bad idea for so many reasons. But then it's like they decide, nah, actually, I don't want to wait. I actually want to have sex now. And then they do that. And then they can just go, oh no, the Lord turned me from my wretched ways and I'm forgiven. And it's like, wow, that's so nice. You can still do whatever you want, which is funny. It's funny that they claim that atheists are only atheists because we just want to sin and we want to do whatever we want when they do the same shit, which is amazing and hypocritical, obviously, as the title of the article so amazingly put, the gospel of Christian hypocrisy. I couldn't put it any better. But I do want to put one thing from the article out there that I think really needs to be said, is that it says and alleges that Walker's moral character was answered when his own son publicly on Twitter told him off and said, and I quote, "You're not a family man when you left us to bang a bunch of women." And then he later added, "You have 4 kids that we know of, and you weren't in the house raising one of them. You were out cheating and lying." So, and then he continues on. So clearly his son is even calling out his hypocrisy, which I think is hilarious. That actually is funny in a completely funny way. So just wanted to point that out. Even his son doesn't like him.
Yeah, well, his son is also a very full MAGA, full QAnon kid. So I'm not sure it's a win, but
it's not a win, but it's something.
yes, still 4 as we know so far. And I had a point, but I totally forgot it. So Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we covered hypocrisy, Christian hypocrisy?
Richard, I feel like every week that I'm on this show, every fucking time, it's another goddamn fucking article about how Christians are hypocrites. When will it end? Please, someone put an end to it. Can we end it, please?
It's like it's the only thing they can do. Well, what's on the Christian agenda for today? Let's work out our liturgical calendar for the year. Okay, week 1. Let's be hypocritical. Week 2. Let's do something different this week. Let's be hypocritical. Week 3. I think we should go down the hypocrisy route this week, just so we're not saying hypocritical for a 3rd time. It's great. It's fantastic. It's not fantastic. It's ridiculous. What mirror are these people holding up to themselves?
Right.
Because as you said, when we're talking to, I don't want to kind of pin Christians with a broad brush, but when you're talking to many Christians in kind of our arena who talk to atheists on a regular basis, they will tell us how bad our morality is and ask us, what standard do you have for morality? What standard do you have for morality?
Right.
And I just want to say, where the fuck is your mirror? I don't care what standard you've got, but where is the mirror? Because the stuff you're doing is ridiculous. They talk about atheist immorality, and atheist immorality is not immoral. It's just stuff they don't like. They're the ones actually doing the immoral shit. if you're in a relationship with someone and you're not happy in that relationship, this is a piece of life advice, people, because I'm an old man, as you can see by the silver in my hair. If a bit of life advice for everyone here. Let's sit back and listen to the dulcet tones of the Englishman. And
Take notes,
if you're
kiddos.
in a relationship and you're not happy, there's something that you can do. You can communicate with your partner that you're not happy.
Or you can get the fuck out. You could also do that.
Communicate. If you're not happy and if you can't work it out between you, then you can agree to go your separate ways. That's moral. That's what morality is. What you don't do is you just lie to your partner and go and fuck an 18-year-old behind their back and get them pregnant, and then go into the confession booth at the end of the week and say, "I'm really sorry, God, I didn't mean to do it. I'm so sorry." That's immoral. So there's a little bit of life advice for you. If you have feelings for the people, it's natural, it's fine, it's perfect. But if you're in a relationship, communicate that to your partner. Don't just go running around fucking people behind their back. It's easy peasy. Okay, Cindy.
Yeah, he was a football player. So maybe like sailors, they have a woman in each harbor or each city they play in. But yeah, I wanted to come back to what August said earlier, and when she spoke about purity and marriage and everything like that, and we also need to remember that when men rape children and then the young girls get pregnant, in some states in the US, they force the men, the kid to marry the man. And then because that's still legal in what, 12, 15 states in the US. So yeah, it's all of it is immoral. All this purity culture, all this talk they have about sex is immoral. There's nothing to salvage.
Yeah, we let's take your final thought, August, and then we'll move on.
My final thought actually will be stolen from the article itself, which is the religious right is neither. I think that pretty much sums it up. There we go. And see y'all next week for next week's installment of Christian hypocrisy, because it will most definitely be next week and the week after that and the week after that and the week after that.
Indeed, it will.